Lovely to meet you, Keith.
Thanks for having me in there, Graham.
Firstly, describe to our listeners a bit about your photographs. I reckon most of our listeners have seen these photos because they are something special.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, what I do is I take old photographs of the city, where I can find them, and I find it interesting to go back to the original spot, try and pinpoint the same view, and see how it's changed. So I'll take a then photo and a now photo. Then I'll try and merge them together, so we'll try and get different eras interacting with each other. So I'll try and put them together in interesting ways.
I think the first ones I saw of yours were the Beatles ones.
They're a great subject because, I mean, who doesn't love the Beatles? I found some old publicity photographs of them, and I just tried to superimpose them on the same spot today, see how the area's changed, have them mingling with people from the 2010s, you know.
And if you haven't seen them, I mean, like, for instance, the Cavan ones, there's people waiting to get in the... So you've taken the picture in Matthew Street.
Yes.
But then in the middle of the picture, in that one, you're actually holding it up. Others you've merged.
Yeah.
Like the one in Chilwell Abbey.
Chilwell Abbey, yeah, that was...
the pub.
It's my local pub, actually. I live in Chilwell, and I believe the photo was George Harrison's brother was getting married, and they had their party in the Chilwell Abbey Hotel. And... the entertainment for the wedding was provided by the Quarrymen. Right. You know, what a group to book. The pub hasn't changed an awful lot structurally, so I went back to the pub, took the old photo and blended it into the scene as it is now. So, you know, I try to sort of juxtapose it. So you'll have the black and white photograph from, you know, a historical time. Someone maybe sitting on their phone, their mobile phone and things, just try and make it look interesting, you know.
There's different themes in the work as well. We obviously had the Beatles one. There's a transport one as well.
And the articles, there's sort of transport. There's been the Beatles one. There's been the Victorian era because, I mean, so much was going on in Liverpool in Victorian times. It was a great time of development. And it's as far away as you can get with photography. The cameras only came in about 1840, I think. So they're the oldest examples you can get, I think, of images of the city. In saying that, I've actually been able to do a couple with old paintings of the city and old etchings from before the 1800s, you know.
Wow.
On my Facebook page, I separate all the photos by area. So if someone wants to look at Aintree or Fazakerley or Grassendale, you know, they could look at that area and see the photos for that particular space.
Technically, to do this, do you have to use different kinds of lenses and everything? Because if it's too wide, it's not going to merge properly. Yeah,
it can be quite difficult for me. I mean, I'm only a very self-taught photographer. I've only been doing it the last few years. The original photographs were often taken, obviously, with film cameras, 35mm, or, you know, very old. Some of the photos go back to 1860. So I find it difficult to get exactly the same geometry as the original photographers. But luckily now, with Photoshop and computer programs, you can sort of bend the photograph and sort of try and get the angles the same. It's important to get it from exactly the right spot. But if you do that, there's a good chance with the computer wizardry, you can sort of try and get a similar match, enough to blend the two.
So where did the idea come from originally?
Well, it's something that people have done for many years. I think there was a couple of books out about 20, 25 years ago, and I thought they were fascinating. So the city's got such a great history, and I bought some postcards from a bookshop in town, and one of them was St George's Hall, and I thought, this was from 1890 something. I thought, it's hardly changed at all, but I thought I'll go back to the same spot and just see what has changed structurally. It stood the test of time. It's an incredible building. The lucky thing for me is I find it really interesting if there's been a dramatic change. You know, something might look incredibly modern now. It might be, you know, a McDonald's next to it or an old building or whatever. But I find it equally interesting if things have stayed the same. You know, if something's not completely unchanged in maybe 120, 150 years, I find it incredible. I find it really interesting either way, you know. Yeah.
And you have to get permission from the owners of the original old photographs to use them.
When I can, I do. If I can trace the original photographer, there's a lot of issues with copyright.
Yeah.
The very, very old photographs, I think the copyright expires 70 years after the death of the person that took the photo, unless they were working for a corporation. Quite often, the original photographer will send them to me. Some of them are family photos of my own. On the occasions where I know who took it, I contact them and ask if it's okay. Overwhelmingly, people say, fine, go ahead, you know.
And they've gone worldwide now, haven't they? Because I saw them in the Echo, they've been in the Mirror, and the Daily Mail's done them. And I think the Daily Mail is the most read online newspaper in the world.
It's a very popular place, and it's a place that gets a lot of views and stuff, you know, and I was glad of the exposure. But,
and what kind of feedback have you got from the worldwide attention then?
It's been incredible. I was most surprised. I was approached by a Canadian TV company. There was a lady was coming touring the UK, but trying to go off the beaten track, meeting people with sort of eccentric or unusual hobbies and occupations. And she'd found my work, and she came to visit Liverpool to see my Liverpool, my favourite part of Liverpool. We went out and did some photos together for a travel documentary for Canada. So that was a great experience, being part of a TV programme. I'm completely surprised and overwhelmed with how much interest there's been.
I've loved your work for a long time, and I mean loved it. I mean, it is good. The thing that surprised me that I only found out this morning was you're not a professional photographer.
Oh, no, not at all, no.
So your day job?
I'm a port captain for a container shipping line. So what I tend to do is go out for lunchtime. I'm so lucky being in town. I can just go out with a few photos, take a few, come home after work. I can sort of process them and try and put them together in an interesting way, hopefully. And share them online. You know, it's being addictive to me. You know,
Is your plan to go fully pro doing this?
No.
Really?
I don't think I could ever do that. Sort of 4 years ago, I was taking 24 photos a year on holiday, and that was it. You know, no interest in it at all. But I've gradually got more and more interested in photography, tried to improve myself and tried to learn as much as I can because I enjoy it. But very much an amateur and always will be.
I mean, this city's got a fabulous history. And an
Yeah.
amazing history.
Yeah.
And it actually shows you the bits of it that are still living in the locations, and that is just a terrific way to show that.
I find it absolutely fascinating. I'm no historian, but I try to pick up what I can when I can. And it's not just the grand buildings and the great events that have happened here. And I mean, it's an incredible city. I think it's the best in the world. But the people and, I find it interesting to see the fashions and the cars and how people lived. You know, some of them are familiar to me for sort of in the 70s and 80s, and it's a different kind of nostalgia. I remember that. But also to see much older, in my grandparents' time, the 1920s, how people lived. I mean, there's a photo I took where there's a windmill, and it's only in the 1919, I think it was, and to think when my grandparents were alive, there was windmills in local areas.
And you're bringing it back to life. It's just great. You say you got a Facebook page.
Yeah.
Where can we find out more?
Well, it's a Facebook page. It's just called Liverpool Then and Now.
Liverpool Then and Now. That's easy enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
Keith Jones, thanks for coming in and telling us all about this.
Thank you for having me in.